Also, when I got to GameStop today, the person at the counter, when I walked in, was actually buying Splinter Cell, and the person behind the counter was explaining to him that there were issues with the game, that it was freezing. Now, I understand that even before any issues were reported, this game included a day one patch. I talked about this in one of my previous videos. This is becoming a bit of an issue where developers are not putting out a game out of the gate when they ship it to retailers, when you buy it off the shelf, that works properly. Now, I know it may be surprising in this day and age, but not everyone has access to the internet. Certainly there are plenty of people that still have dial-up. So to have to download a patch, especially for a game that has a single player portion, 99% of them do, to have to download a patch to play the game properly is it's outrageous, really, and it's becoming all too common. Almost every game you see these days has a day one patch. What should be happening is, if they find out that there's an issue with the game before it's released, fix it and then release it working. Now, I know that there's issues in terms on the business side with, getting the game out on time. You've got to make their money. They have shareholders, but to me, it's a big problem. I mean, yeah, I have the internet. I have access to the internet. I can download a patch, but it's just uncalled for. Uncalled for. Anyway, so after they discovered that the game was freezing within the first couple of levels, I think it is, and people could not progress through the game at all if they were connected to the internet, which is weird, right? If you weren't connected to the internet while you were playing the game, it worked fine, single player. So anyway, they released another patch on day one, after the day one patch, to patch the issues that the game was having. Not a problem with the disc itself, problem with the code. So they went ahead and they issued a patch. Whether or not that patch works, I'm not sure. I've heard that everything's working fine now. I'll find out in just a little bit. But just a mess overall with this whole launch. I mean, even from the game's inception, or the original launch of, or the announcement of a new Splinter Cell. This game has been in development for a number of years. The main reason because halfway into production, they decided to scrap the entire idea of what they had in store for the game and go in a completely new direction, which we see here today. The original concept for Splinter Cell Conviction, if you've been following the game, was kind of a Assassin's Creed meets Splinter Cell. It was based on more active stealth, where you needed to blend into the crowd, use the environment to distract guards or take down guards, use objects around you, and same kind of idea in terms of Sam on the run, or no longer with the agency, but it was a completely different type of game than what we see here today. So this title has been delayed numerous times, and we finally have it, and then they go ahead and screw up the entire launch of the Collector's Edition, which for $10 extra, I mean, it's okay. I bought it because I'm a fan of the Splinter Cell series. Big fan of, especially the multiplayer, Spies vs. Mercenaries, that they introduced in Pandora Tomorrow, and continued in Chaos Theory. In those two games, the multiplayer was fantastic. I spent hours upon hours playing. Loved that Spies vs. Mercs. Rather not talk about what they did with it in Double Agent, they completely screwed it up. So it's not really worth mentioning. But what they've stated, Ubisoft, has said that because the way that the game is structured this time around, the Conviction, the gameplay, it doesn't really fit into the world that we're used to in Spies vs. Mercs. Diving around, snapping necks. Basically, you have complete control of your character. In this, it's more context-based, where instead of jumping whenever you want, when you see a pipe, you look at the pipe and it says press X to jump on the pipe. Whereas before, if you saw a pipe, you would just jump and you were on the pipe. So they did not include Spies versus Mercenaries in Splinter Cell Conviction. Now, really, when they announced the new Splinter Cell years ago, I was simply excited to get my hands on a new version of Spies vs. Mercs, hopefully fixing it from the fiasco that was Double Agent. But there is no multiplayer as we're used to in Conviction. It almost made me not want to even pick up the game altogether. But again, I'm a fan. I'm sure they're fans of their world and their game that they've created, so I'm going to give it a go. The multiplayer in Conviction is centers around co-op. There's an entire mission or story mode for you and a buddy to go through. There are also 4 different modes called Deniable Ops, which you will be able to work together with a friend to, I guess, take out enemies and take out waves of enemies. Everything's got a horde mode nowadays, but we'll see how that goes. There's only one competitive mode that I know of, and that's a 1 versus 1 spy versus spy with AI in the map. You need to take out the AI as well as your opponent. Certainly not the same as before, but we will see. All of this is probably better for the review. Now, speaking of reviews, as I mentioned in most of my previous videos, I wanted to be able to capture gameplay footage for them, and I am now able to do that after procuring the Hauppauge HD PVR. I have that hooked up to my Xbox 360 right now, and I will be recording the gameplay as I go, so that when you watch the review, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So that's nice. Looking forward to that. Hope you are too. And so the issue with the PS3, as I talked about in my last video, is still the case. The Blu-ray just does not play for enough time. It shouldn't stop playing, but it does. All of them. So I can't play the PS3. Still turns on, kind of teasing me there, but it doesn't work. So, Splinter Cell being an Xbox exclusive, I don't have to worry about making a choice there. Hopefully it should keep me busy for a while. A couple other games coming out. Well, one other game coming out in April, the big one, Super Street Fighter 4. Definitely looking forward to that. Thing is that I have the original Street Fighter 4 on the PS3, and I'd like to kind of keep that going. I also prefer the PS3 controller when playing Street Fighter. So I have a couple weeks to kind of figure out what I want to do. I mean, sure, I could pick up Super Street Fighter 4 after the release date. I don't need to pick it up day 1. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. A lot of good games coming up in May, so there'll be reviews. The first one, of course, will be for Splinter Cell Conviction. Look forward to that. And that's about it. So I will see you next time, and thanks for watching.